For a number of years now, the Scottish music scene has been spread globally. With the likes of musicians like Calvin Harris, Amy MacDonald and Biffy Clyro, one could say that they have put Scotland's music scene on the map. Taking a look at Glasgow specifically, Scotland's largest city, musicians will travel worldwide to play at the likes of the O2 Academy, the 13,000 capacity indoor arena The Hydro, or the nearby famous T in the Park. With the biggest performers coming and going through the country's music venues, how is Glasgow's local scene doing? It appears over the past few years a number of local festivals and venues around Glasgow have been struggling to survive, many being forced to close their doors. 2014 saw the closure of Rocknest Music Festival. A year later, one of Glasgow's most iconic music venues, The Arches, was forced to shut down. 2016 saw the closure of Wickerman Festival. The live music bar McSorley struggled to stay open, and the owners of Brew in the Bog, unable to pay its performers, shut down. Furthermore, Scotland's biggest festival, T in the Park, has cancelled its 2017 slot as well. Struggling to sell out tickets in previous years, issues with moving to new locations, and the controversy surrounding the event, the once family-friendly festival was rapidly becoming infamous for its cases of violence and drug-related deaths. There seems to be a sudden emergence in recent years of smaller musicians popping up across the live music scene.
Glasgow specifically, it's just like its own world, man. To get gigs, that's a byproduct of us putting the time in and crafting our talents. But we don't give a what venue shut down, to see if venue shut down, mate. We find another one, if that one shut down, we find another one. If the venue in this town shut down, we lose to our town.
Is this creating competition? Is it harder to get a gig? How are smaller live music venues across Scotland coping with what seems like a collapsing economy being monopolised by larger venues? My name is Lironi, and throughout this documentary I will be finding out if Glasgow's local music scene can survive these severe changes. If I am to find out the reasoning behind these closures and how the music scene is coping, I am going to need to investigate each area of it. Whether it's those in charge of the venues, people who attend them, or of course those who perform in them, I will be getting in contact with them for their expertise and insight into the music scene. Before looking elsewhere, I felt it was necessary to get first-hand experience on what it was like for the musician during these times. I travelled to Ayrshire to meet up with a couple of members of The Tales, an up-and-coming alternative indie rock band who are very familiar with performing in Glasgow.
Hiya.
My name's Scott. I play drums and do synths for The Tales.
Hi, I'm Lee. I play bass for The Tales.
So obviously there's been quite a few venues have closed and local festivals have closed for the next year. Do you think it puts on a bit more pressure to book a gig?
Like I went to Wickerman Festival, which closed this year. And also T in the Park as well. It makes it a bit harder for bands to a certain extent, because these festivals are good places for bands to go and get recognised and reach new audiences.
Like the T-break stage. And
yeah, because people don't necessarily sit at home and think, oh, I'm going to go out to King Tut's or I'm going to go out to 13th Note and go and see a new band who I've never seen. People discovering them is a lot harder. People only discover them through the internet now, and the internet's such a big place.
So you mentioned like the 13th Note, and there seems to be like 2 or 3 main venues in Glasgow where people go to play, and obviously the most iconic is King Tut's. Like, do you think it's still the go-to place to play in Glasgow, or are there others kind of coming out the scene?
I think, it's something every band should play at least once. I think some people get really tied up with the idea. It's like, right, we'll play King Tut's a lot and we'll get discovered, and that's how we get in. And it's more of like if there's a gig a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you're more likely to get discovered than, you know, you gig King Tut's whenever they ask you.
Because you could be the band that plays, you know, Hug and Pint or the 13th Note and gets signed. I find the Hug and Pint as a venue, it's really close and it's really intimate. The Hug and the Pint almost seems very like...
It's a room.
Yeah, it's just a room, like, obviously being the drummer, you're right up the back of the stage, but you feel really close to the person who's right up the back of the venue. And I really like that.
There's obviously been closures, the Arches, obviously big losses. Do you guys feel that, you know, you've still got the potential to survive?
It's things like Spotify, that people are getting access to music for like really, really cheap and really free, so they don't have to go and discover it. As much as being an old romantic, you hope that is with live music. There might be a kind of time where you might have to kind of sit there and kind of go, okay, this isn't going to be the way anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I hope that bands can survive with live music, because live music is just the greatest thing about being in a band is playing live. One of my lecturers from university told me music isn't finished being created until it's played live. So I hope personally that live music industry kind of continues on.
It was very clear that the Tales, and I'm sure many other musicians, are extremely passionate about being given the opportunity to perform live in Glasgow. What remained unclear, however, was how such musicians are able to cope financially. With music streaming services paying their artists very low funds, is live performances how they are meant to raise capital?
We need to start bands that are successful now always have to have one eye on sort of things like Spotify and YouTube, downloads, all that sort of stuff, because that is where you make your money. Ticket sales and things now, most venues are looking from sort of pay-to-play deals. You know, you could sell 100 tickets for a gig at a venue. That doesn't mean that you're going to get back 100 tickets worth of money. You know, they take a cut off it, they take money off it, and you end up, you know, playing shows for peanuts, pretty much.
With many venues paying their artists a low wage, perhaps performing live isn't about the money. It seems that live performances are what bring in fans and generate a local following. A local following that can increase with every show. With the Tales' thoughts on such matters still fresh in my mind, it was time for me to meet a regular around Glasgow's gigs. Someone who knows the scene from both the inside and out.
I'm Suzanne Oswald. I am a freelance music journalist. I currently write for Tenement TV and Gig Soup. I kind of fell into doing music journalism again just to get into free gigs really.
Yeah.
And then I realised I was really enjoying it at Gig Soup. I applied for a kind of internship at Tenement TV last summer. Now I'm part of their kind of editorial team and have been for like the past 9 months or something like that, so it's pretty cool. And it's really cool to work with people that are like passionate about Glasgow music and the same kind of stuff as you.
So you will have been to venues and festivals kind of across Glasgow, smaller venues and festivals. Why do you think that they're struggling just now?
I think Scotland's music scene's thriving at the minute. I think it's in like some of the best shape it's been in quite a while in terms of bands coming through. But there are some festivals and venues that have shut down. We've got like Brew at the Bogs cancelled and Tina Park is off this year. But to be honest, I think that that's not indicative of the state of the Scottish music scene.
So do you think, because it seems like it's not a kind of a set way to make a lot of money for new bands, but you do kind of, you're able to establish a kind of fan base with live gigs?
Yeah.
Do you think it's still crucial to play live gigs as an up and coming?
I think it's more important than ever to play live. New bands emerging thousands of new bands emerging every single day, so it's hard to get, I suppose it's harder to get found. It's a great opportunity to put your music out there, but at the same time you're struggling to be heard against like thousands of different bands.
What do you think is the kind of staple things a like young and up and coming musician in Glasgow should be doing? Like what are the key things?
Playing live all the time. It's really important to have a strong social media presence. Get yourself a good manager. What's really important these days is photography. If you have like a good set of pictures of some amazing photographers in Glasgow, that really helps the image of a band moving forward. If you have like a good aesthetic.
Suzanne definitely knew what she was talking about, which made it surprising to hear how different her responses were to that of the musician.
And that's how you attract, like, you blow people away, isn't it, through a live performance?
Yeah, definitely. That's what changes it. Suzanne's statement about Glasgow's scene thriving got me thinking, is it only the venues and festivals that are struggling? What about the comments said by the tails? Seems like there's a conflicting opinion about how music venues in Glasgow are coping. I think it's about time that we go to a venue and see what they have to say. With my mind racing with conflicting thoughts and opinions, it was time to meet up with someone who works hand in hand with both musicians and music journalists. Headed for the West End of Glasgow, I travelled to the Hug and Pint, a small but very comfortable live music venue that was very familiar with giving opportunity to up-and-coming artists and musicians. Hopefully, my questions would be answered here.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Will we just get started?
My name is Colin Campbell. I'm one of the owners of Hug and Pint in Glasgow. I take more of a managerial role here. We tend to test out gigs here in an environment that we can control and keep the kind of costs maybe a bit lower than it would be if you were hiring another venue.
Yeah.
You can make sure bands are treated nice and stuff like that.
Do you think it's quite important then for like smaller venues like the Hug and the Pint to be there as a means for growth for artists?
Yeah, hugely important, yeah. Used to be, this kind of size of venue I guess, used to be called like the toilet tour in the UK, which is a really unuseful term.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't really describe
I find
how important they are.
venues have the best gigs because everybody's there and loving it.
Totally, I think that you find that across the board. Like everyone who works in music, live music, you would see that across the board. I think people would be like, best gig I ever went to was in, you know, the Captain's Rest, or was in Nice and Sleazy's in Glasgow, or was, you know, any of these small venues. Yeah. We know what you need when you've been driving for like 6 hours. When you arrive, you just want a coffee and like a smile. You don't, and maybe Wi-Fi. You know, you don't. Would be nice. Yeah, you don't really need much else. It's just hospitality, really. You know, and good level of production for the shows. Do you think that with the, you know, there's obviously a lot more music courses now and further and higher education. And there's a huge focus on social media about promoting bands and kind of like having that platform there. Do you think it's kind of oversubscribed at all, or do you think it's really helpful for up-and-coming bands to have those platforms? I don't think there's an overabundance of it. It's one of the effects of technology, I guess, speeding up and everything becoming cheaper, that people can record at home now for, you know, fairly good quality. It's the thing that people have been talking about for years, and like distribution of music is cheaper and being able to promote yourself is cheaper, so necessarily you do end up with more music and more music that gets out there, because it's a lot easier and cheaper for people to do that. You don't, you know, there's an argument that you don't need labels. Obviously in the last wee while, a couple of places have shut down, a couple of festivals have been struggling and had a bit of a postponement and such. Do you have any kind of idea to why that is? Yeah, it's really hard. It's a really hard business. The license trade's hard as well. The margins are so tight, I guess, and they're getting tighter and tighter all the time. Your overheads are going up. One of the things that really annoys me is the PRS's stance on it, on live music. Your PRS live music license, we need to have a sellout on like £16-17 ticket, which happens maybe once or twice a year. So most of our shows, if we sell £100 worth of tickets, our cost will be £250, so the bar is now supporting it by £150, that sort of thing. So it's just that level of sort of bureaucracy where they don't understand the trade, the license trade, or the small venue music trade is not helpful for places like us. Like, we're doing it for the love of music and for like the love of people being able to come and drink nice things and eat nice things. You know, we want people to have a really nice time. It's important for us, and it's important in general for the music scene and for the bands. That's why we're sort of here at the end of the day.
Colin's remarks on the live music scene was eye-opening. The importance of such venues like the Hug and Pint were highlighted to me after discussing the issues Glasgow has been facing. The fact that all performers are paid to some extent regardless of ticket sales makes it clear how critical local venues are. They are so much more than just a friendly local pub that plays music. They are a rite of passage for musicians hoping to make it big. Certainly, Glasgow's music scene has struggled recently. But it is fair to say, when one door closes, another opens. Yes, Tea in the Park will not be running in 2017, but in its place we do have a new festival, Transmit, that will be held in Glasgow and host an all-star lineup. And yes, new musicians are popping up all over the scene, trying to make a living, but it can be seen that by working with good venues and festivals and maintaining the passion, that this city's music scene will continue thriving.